Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about when a person sows seeds of doubt in your mind about who you are. And some would say this is a narcissistic behavior. These days, I think people use that more to replace the word abuse. That's not a diagnosis of the person as having a personality disorder or anything. It's just they replace abuse, because abuse has always been, as far as I've been alive, considered a very harsh word that people don't want to use. They don't want to talk about it. Now, the other day I was thinking about this again, not the first time in my life, about the whole looking glass self, of how, you think others see you and think about you. And that's where you get part of your identity, your self-identity. And if you are around people, say you grew up in a very dysfunctional family, maybe some would call narcissistic family these days, and you were the scapegoat, you were the one they cut down, they hurt, they used to take all their frustrations out on, and one of which would be to say things about you that are not true. They're projecting in this what they really feel about themselves, but they put it on you and say you are that, whatever it is. And this can also be along the line of, calling you stupid, fat, dumb, stupid and dumb, and, so forth, that is really how they feel about themselves. But they put it on you, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be fat. It can be too skinny or too whatever they think. That's no justification, none of it, to say that to anybody. But they do. And you grow up around people like this, and it can happen. You grow up in a very, where bullying is allowed in school. And people are always bullying one another in school, always pointing out the negative thing they feel is a negative thing about another person. You can be real smart, and they point that out as a negative thing, okay? You can be whatever. You can be the most beautiful person on the planet, which nobody would be, but yeah. Then they're going to make something negative of it, out of their own insecurities, out of their own issues. But you hear that from so many people that it causes you to think, that's how you are seen, and that's how you are. You think you might turn to that and say, that's how I am. That's how everybody sees me, so therefore it's true. But for some people, they'd say, this is so unlike how I see myself, that it has to be wrong. Okay, now that can be another issue too. I mean, it could be true, and another, it could be false. Okay, we all know that. Or somewhere in between. Okay, but anyway, your sense of self, your identity, is all messed up because not everybody will say that. Not everybody treats you that way. Some people might have the totally different view of you. Like I said, let's use smart. Like, it's not a bad thing. And some people don't see it as a bad thing, but some people do see it as a bad thing. But anyway, your identity is all screwed up because what you had been dealing with was somebody who was abusive. And it might not have been one person. It might have been many people. Okay? And your identity, like I said, who are you? You really don't know who you are, and except in your own mind. Okay, and that's very confusing when what people see you as, and you see you as, or don't. They're not the same. Okay, and maybe as you get older and maybe go to counseling, which is I don't make any kind of this is not any kind of advice or counseling or anything along that line. And I'm not making a suggestion to anybody, no, right. And so you find out that, no, this is not, you get away from there. Maybe you have to move totally into a different state or different city, state, wherever. And people there do not see you that way. And like I said, maybe you've seen counseling. They say, no, that was abuse. That was somebody abusing you. And so then you start to realize, what people were doing, the more you learn about narcissistic behavior, and it doesn't have to be narcissistic, it doesn't have to be a cluster B, and the more you learn about it, the more you actually learn from something that is professional, is that what is your true identity is not what they had said. And why they were doing it, one of the reasons could have been that they were trying to chip away at your self-confidence, or your self-esteem, your self-identity, everything about yourself. They were chipping away from it. And now you have to work to build it back up, because you had been like having darts thrown at you repeatedly, and now you have to repair. Now, can we say that everybody who's ever said anything, ever given us a feeling of negativity about ourselves is wrong, or that that's their purpose for doing it, or all that? No, of course not. There are some things about ourselves we don't want to face. Some people who are, say, really very narcissistic, not a diagnosed, but narcissistic, that they believe nothing is wrong about them. They're not going to see anybody as wrong, anything about them as being wrong at all, no matter who says it. Sometimes. There might be a few people they'll listen to. If it benefits them to. But some people, who are not narcissistic, might not want to believe something that is actually true and is actually negative about them. Okay, sometimes it's difficult if you've been abused so much by people who have these kind of abusive behaviors. You've been abused so much, you might not want to hear something negative again from somebody else. Okay, it's you've had too much, and you're in the healing process. Okay, and I know that some people can whip out not a dictionary, but a DSM, and point a finger at some kind of disorder or something and say, it's you. Yeah, and it could be. It actually could be that. But I'm not here to diagnose, and they shouldn't be diagnosing you either. It should be your counselor, your therapist, not just somebody else who just feels like acting like they know more than as much as a therapist or counselor. So, yeah, you get what I'm saying. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up.